Okay, I think we're doing this again. Hello everyone, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and welcome to episode number 82. This is part of our double feature, and we will be joined shortly by Sifu Dino Orfanos, and hopefully we don't have that um, audio problem that we had earlier. I can see you. Can you hear me, sir?
Yep. How you doing, Dwight?
All right. So you good?
I'm fantastic. How you doing?
I'm very good.
Good.
I'm trying to think when's the last time I would have seen you. It would have been over 25 years ago, huh?
In the late 80s, maybe early 90s.
Oh my God, my God, my God. All right, so everyone say hello to Dino Orfanos. So let me tell you, I don't know if I told you this before, but here's why I thought of you. Somebody said something recently about Jeet Kune Do not being a vehicle for professional martial arts success unless you mix it in with something else. And I thought immediately, they ain't never heard of Dino Orfanos.
Well, that's true. I mean, we just teach Jeet Kune Do at our academy.
Right.
And I look at it this way. There's people that teach Shotokan karate and make a go of it, correct?
Yes.
And there's people that teach just Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and make a go of it.
Yes.
So why should not a person that is teaching Junfen Jeet Kune Do be able to make a go of it? Since we can kick, punch, trap, grapple, use the weapon in long, medium, and close range, what else is there from the combative elements?
This is why you're on the program with me.
Yeah.
You're going to answer that question and tell the whole world.
I mean, you know, I've done the Thai boxing. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor under Grandmaster Relson Gracie. I've done Filipino martial arts since 1985. You know, I'm a certified instructor under Chris Kent in Filipino martial arts. I'm a certified instructor in Jeet Kune Do under Sifu Chris Kent and Ted Wong, because I think I'm the only person that's ever done that as an instructor. But what we teach is Jeet Kune Do. And the thing is, what did Bruce want? He wanted the individual to have totality. So even like when we teach grappling, right? You'll see elements of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in it, but you'll also see wrestling, catch-can wrestling. You'll see shoot, sambo. Because why would we limit ourselves to just that one particular style, which is what Bruce was against. He was looking for freedom.
Yeah. So, but see, you seem to have been able to sidestep a trend, which is to jump on particular bandwagons as particular arts became popular and well known in the general public.
Okay, well, what happened was when I originally started teaching, I was a concept school, right? And I had a Jeet Kune Do class on Monday nights. And that was the most popular class. Not a Junfen Gun Fu class, but actually a Jeet Kune Do class. And then what happens is, you know what, this is working out so well, I'll do the JKD classes every day, and then I'll have a supplement class, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class, a Kali class, a Thai boxing class as a supplement. And then what happened is a lot of my students came up to me and they were like, these arts contradict what we're doing in the Jeet Kune Do class. So that was the beginning, and then I spoke to Sifu Chris, and Chris was like, hey, where's the uniqueness in what you do if you're doing what everybody else does? So I started teaching Jeet Kune Do. The grappling became freestyle grappling. The kickboxing class was no longer a Thai boxing class, but it was a Jeet Kune Do kickboxing class. We took the elements of Jeet Kune Do, strong side forward, hand moving first, interception. Even with the weapon, we do a lot of blade in our school. I mean, a tremendous, more blade than anything. And, you know, we work the interception, we work the fencing principles, because that's what JKD is based on, right? A lot of fencing principles. And it just made our weapon better. That doesn't mean we don't cut the hand. It doesn't mean we don't check. It doesn't mean any of those other things. But we also add the interception. We had a lot of footwork. And the students seem to be happy. I'm also surrounded by a bunch of really good guys who are instructors in our school who actually love teaching. So when they like to teach, guess what? The students get the benefits. Everybody's happy. I have a high retention rate because there's so many different elements. Just good people learning a really cool martial art.
Okay. All right. So that's magic. So you're going to have to tell us how you became a magician. So let's backtrack a little bit.
Okay. Not a problem.
Right?
If you want to call me a magician, that's fine.
Yeah. So, so there are is it 4 or 5 branches of NYMAA?
There are 4 branches right now. Originally, there was one in Flushing, and that closed, wound up leaving. I opened up the one in Great Neck,
Yeah.
and then we moved into Little Neck, and that was about a 1,700 square foot school.
Yeah.
Square foot school, and my retention there was very high. We actually didn't teach kids in the beginning, and what happened is some of the parents that were training in the school said to me, "Listen, we don't want to take our kids to other schools. We want them," so we wound up putting the kids program. Then we had one of the instructors said, "Hey, let's make a full kids program."
Yeah.
And in the kids program, we do use belts.
Right.
Okay, because kids want to see that visual, but in the adult program, we have no belts, we have no visual ranking system. I believe that your skill will be able to tell people who you are. So we don't use belts in our school because Bruce was against that. And then what happened is we opened up in Williamsburg 8.5 years ago, and that school is about 8,500 square feet. It's 2 floors, has a cage, has bags and all that. And then we
one with the mural out front?
Yes. Right, that's the one. That's our flagship.
Right.
And what happened is that's in Williamsburg. Then we opened up the one in Astoria, which is about 5,500, 6,000 square feet. That's where I am right now.
Okay.
And then we opened up
Williamsburg is in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. It's it's the first stop out of Manhattan. It's a really hot area.
Right.
And one of my old students actually told me about it. He said, "Hey, let's go out there and open up," and we did. And to be honest, in the beginning, I was a little worried because I was like, I want to keep the quality of people really high because we have really good quality people. But it just seems like the right energy just brought in the right people, and we have a high retention rate there also. Astoria again did the same thing, and we also have a place in Glen Cove, which is like on the border of Nassau County.
Yeah.
So those are the 4 locations.
Okay. Now, New York Martial Arts Academy, that's Neil Colliff's original?
Absolutely. That was originally Neil Colliff's school. And what happened was I was a student.
Right.
And he came up to me and I was going to go I was thinking about opening up a martial arts school. And he approached me, he said, "Hey, let's go be partners."
Okay.
So he was my instructor. And then we went to Great Neck. We opened up. And then that's when his dad got sick.
Yeah.
Okay, and so we opened up the school, and he came up to me and he's like, "I'm selling the schools, and I'm going to Florida." And I was like, "I don't know anything about the martial art business. I knew about other businesses. I'd done very few intros and stuff like that." And he's like, "Nope, I'm leaving. I'm going to Florida." And he wound up selling the original school to a guy named Frankie and Marvin. I forgot their last names.
Oh, I thought he sold it to you.
No, I had the Great Neck School.
Oh.
So what happened is Frankie and Marvin took over the Flushing School.
Okay.
And I had the second school because Neil and I were planning on opening up multiple schools together.
Right.
And then he wound up going to Florida. He was supposed to work with, I think, Greg Silver down there.
Huh.
And I don't know what happened. We lost contact. And then the Flushing School wound up closing down.
Okay.
So that left us by ourselves. And then we moved into the Jun Fan Jeet Kune Do. And we were like that for like 16, 17 years. And then 9 years ago, we opened up Brooklyn. A year later, we opened up Astoria. And 3 months later, we opened up Glen Cove.
Okay.
So everything happened like in 2 years.
Okay, so let's backtrack even more, right? You started in Shotokan?
Yeah, 1973 as a kid.
With whom? Let me see if I know who you started.
A guy named John Anderson. He was on 43rd Street and on 31st by my high school. And it was a couple of guys just wanted to train there. And they used to teach Monday through Thursdays. And they used to do Saturday afternoon class. They were young guys. They like to go out and stuff. So Saturdays, there was a 12 o'clock class in Shotokan. And I was a brown belt there. Then,
hey, can you move your phone a little bit? Sometimes I get just half your face.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happened was I trained with a guy named John Wan Park, who was on 31st Street.
Okay.
And he was a legitimate Hapkido guy. He had been captured by the Cambodians, tortured. He had studied with Choi, who was who invented Korean Hapkido.
Yeah.
And he was a Taekwondo guy. And they used to do actually like some full contact, no equipment stuff. And later on, he sold the school to a guy named Master Wan. And then at that time is when I met Neil, and I started training with Neil. And then about a year into that, I wound up having to go out to Long Island. My business, another business that I had, was out there.
Yeah.
And I started doing Wing Chun with privates, and that's how I got my Wing Chun certification.
Mm-hmm.
And then came back, and I studied with a guy named Sonny Whitmore for a while, who was with William Chung.
Okay.
And their Wing Chun form was really like, the hands were high. There was supposed to be extra moves. And then Neil and I opened up the school in Great Neck, and that's when Neil left. And I think Neil's in Fort Lauderdale.
No, he's in Coral Springs. What year?
Coral.
What year was that?
When Neil left or when we opened?
When you opened up.
1994.
Okay.
So this is really our 25th year.
Right. So you had been with him for like what period of time? So
from 87
uh-huh.
till like 89, and then I left for 2 years because I had to go out.
Okay.
Then I came back and I became part of the instructors group again.
Right.
Because back then Neil used to do the instructors group on Monday nights.
Yeah.
And I became part of the instructors group. Then he asked me to be his partner to open up the school because he knew I wanted to do. He knew I'd done martial arts for a long time. And then we opened up Great Neck, and then that's when Neil decided to go to Florida.
So you mentioned briefly being a concepts school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would have been during the with Neil. Now,
yes.
What would you say then is the biggest difference between what you do now, what was known as a concept?
Okay, I'll give you a little example of our schedule when we were a concept school.
Okay.
Well, we used to do a phase class Monday through Friday, and then like Monday night would be a Jun Fan class, Jun Fan Gung Fu. Tuesday night we'd have a trapping class. Wednesday night there'd be a Thai boxing class. Thursday night there was a Filipino martial art class. And then Saturday mornings, there was a Friday afternoon because Neil didn't have classes Friday nights originally. He used to do a Friday afternoon class. And that was just a regular open class that he used to come out and teach. On Saturdays, he'd teach Kempo because he had a black belt in Chinese Kempo. We'd do a couple other classes. So that was the way Neil was teaching. And then what happened was when he left, where the phase classes were, we put in the Jeet Kune Do classes. Jeet Kune Do, okay? And then we kept the specialty classes. And then slowly we wound up where there was a kickboxing class, the Thai class became a kickboxing class. We had a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class under Grandmaster Wilson Gracie on Wednesdays. Right. That became a grappling class.
Right.
The Filipino martial art class on Thursdays became a weapon class. So we could use a single stick, double stick, stick and dagger, or we could just use blade. And that was the way we progressed.
What was the philosophy that drove you to make that change, to make that modification?
Well, I started really getting into what Bruce was talking about. I met Ted Wong in 1992.
Okay.
What happened was we had gone out for with dinner with Cass Magna at one of the seminars, and Cass was, hey, you know, if you guys ever get a chance to work with this guy Ted Wong, I know he's not in the Danny Insano circle, but you guys should really be able to go work with this guy. So I was in a martial art bookstore, and I look, and there's Ted Wong. I was like, you're Ted Wong, right? And he's like, yeah. And he used to do seminars for a guy named Giordano down on Wall Street. He was a Thai boxer, and Giordano used to do JKD with him. And I went there, and that was when they were talking about doing the 3 books with Bruce Lee's notes before the Bruce Lee Library came out. It was supposed to be 3 books, and they were all talking about it, and they wound up became the Bruce Lee Library, which is like 8 or 9 books. Some of the books weren't released. So when I started looking at what he was doing, I was like, hey, this is a lot different than what I'm doing.
Yeah.
What I'm being taught in the Jun Fan Gung Fu classes, really modified Wing Chun.
Yeah.
And that was fine. And then what happened is I saw what he was doing. And then in 1994, I met Chris Kent. And he was doing a lot of the same stuff that Ted was doing. And I was like, how come he's not doing what the rest of the concept guys are doing? And when I started talking with Sifu Chris, he was like, I don't know what's going on in the JKD family now, but these are the things that Dan taught me in his backyard. Right. So I said, wait a second. So we're closer to the source, and this is what we're doing. If we're going to say we're teaching Jeet Kune Do, obviously there is something called Jeet Kune Do, and it is an art. It's not a style, but it is an art. And it's basically, listen, kinetics and physics. What's the most efficient way to throw a punch? What's the most efficient way to throw a kick? How do we intercept? I mean, at that time, I don't like to get into the, well, these guys aren't doing this right, or that's really a waste of time. All I'm trying to do is trying to get the best results for my students and for myself.
Yeah.
And the thing with Jeet Kune Do, and I really started thinking about this, was Bruce talks about hacking away the unessentials, not adding. We go to school, right? And we're always taught addition, always adding, accumulating. And then Bruce comes along and says, hack away the unessentials. So I started seeing some of the stuff that was like, hey, this is not part of Jeet Kune Do, according to Bruce's notes. Training with Ted, training with Sifu Chris. And I was like, okay, guess what? People like what I'm doing, and it's a cool art. You have mind, body, spirit. If you look at our emblem, it says mind, body, spirit on it, right?
I would
Honor.
ask you what the MBS was.
Right. The M is the mind. It's basic intelligence. Right. The body is the physicality of the art.
Yeah.
Because you need to be physical. I mean, people say, I don't need to be strong to do martial arts, and that's not really true. I mean, if you're getting stronger, you're going to be getting better also in martial arts. And that's the physicality. And of course, the spirit is on top. It's over the art. We have a good spirit. We make good things happen. And that's what it's all about. I believe martial arts is about becoming a better human being.
Right.
Do we ever get there? No. Every so often, reality hits us. And, that's about it. And that's how we started, going just to the Jeet Kune Do. And it started working really well. Nobody else was doing what we were doing. I was getting people from Jersey coming over Saturday mornings. I was getting people from Connecticut. And, that's an hour ride. Some of these guys were traveling an hour to come to my school. And I was getting guys from Flushing, Jackson Heights coming in. I had guys from Staten Island traveling 30, 40 minutes, 50 minutes to come to my class 3 nights a week. So I felt that, hey, we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And, it just worked out. And, we're still doing the weapon. We're still doing the ground, the kicking, the punching. And we have a good environment. I run a really loose school because, everybody's like really nice. So we have fun. We laugh at our own mistakes and stuff like that. And, sometimes I look at people and I made that mistake too, so it's kind of cool.
So what you call loose is what I call an informal formality.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, we bow on and off the floor. We bow at the beginning of class. Obviously, there's, we have to have some martial art etiquette.
Right.
And even Bruce talks about the Japanese have it really right. They're really strict and all that. But, you have good guys, they understand they're not supposed to be doing certain things, and it's a better learning environment. And I have a high retention rate, so these guys are with me I actually have kids that are 17 years old that started with me when they were 4 years old. So these kids are really good. They're good martial arts.
What's the magic in that high retention rate?
You know what I think? I think you keep it interesting, and if you get on the floor, a lot of times you look at schools, and the instructor just wants to go through the motions. And I don't really believe you should be teaching if you don't love it. I had a discussion with a certain group of JKD practitioners, and I'm not going to bring up what group they are. And they were like, well, our instructor didn't believe that full-time instructors is where Jeet Kune Do should be. And I was like, well, that's the way you're going to grow. If you want to preserve and perpetuate the art that Bruce created, you have to have full-time instructors, and you have to have guys that love it. You see sometimes people get on the floor, and they're like, man, I don't even want to be here. And of course, the students pick it up. You can pick it up, right? You walk in, you go, this guy doesn't even want to be here. So we try to keep the guys that are around us, that are teaching, are really good guys. They take their time. If somebody needs help before or after class, we stay with them. We help them out. That's not a problem. Yeah. Because they are part of our family. It's an extended family. Yeah. My son, who's very well educated, he runs all the schools right now. I think you spoke to him, right, James? And
I spoke to the brains behind him.
Oh, Auntie. But my son actually runs a lot of the stuff now. And, it's just good people helping other good people. And isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? Right. We do We do. We just had a cancer money drive. We did a poker night. We raised $11,000. We do kickathons. We do galas to help people that need money. We do food drives. We get people involved because that spirit on top of the emblem is what we're all about. And you know, our founder, right, was really into that philosophical stuff about the martial arts.
Yeah.
And now you just have people just kicking and punching and talking about beating people up, and that's not really martial arts.
Right.
Martial arts is a way of life, and we should be helping. And considering that Bruce died when he was 32 years old, the guy was a genius. I mean, look at all the things. I mean, people are trying to catch up to him now after all those years.
Yes.
And when you think about this was a young man. Some of the stuff he wrote when he was 27, 28, 29 years old. And he's talking about becoming a total individual. Talks about, you know, coming from a traditional background, it's always about the art and the instructor. And Bruce is talking about you're more important than anything. A fully developed individual goes beyond styles and systems. If you understand motion, you don't need style. Because if you and I went to play baseball, they wouldn't teach us the Babe Ruth way, right? They would teach us the kinetics and the physics, and the martial arts should be the same way. So if you're teaching...
That's one of the things you find most impressive about Bruce Lee, the level of intellect compared to the age.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah. I mean, you know, you have guys, and I'm sure there's a lot of smart people out there, but you're talking about a 32-year-old guy, 30-year-old guy, and you're talking about a guy in the late 60s.
Yes.
And now, you know, 50 years later, right? People are still trying to catch up to, they're trying to figure out, and all these people debate about what it is, and they argue about that. Maybe it's a little bit of everything. You know? Yeah. It depends what you get out of the art, right? Right. And right. I'd rather teach the art than sit there and, well, my way's the right way, your way's the wrong way. And you hear all these people. And you know, I just, let's just have some fun and do the martial arts and have fun, develop some friendships, you know, be an asset to the community. Yeah. And everything will work out well. I mean, we take a little kid who's 6, 7 years old, and we can actually affect them in a positive way. I have kids in my school that will never make a baseball team or a basketball team, but you get them on that floor, and 6 months later, they're kicking and they're punching and they get confidence in themselves. And I think that's the coolest thing. Okay. I think when you look at that kid that, you know, maybe he's not good enough to play baseball as he gets older, but he's good enough to get on that floor. You see him get better and better. And all of a sudden, you look at him and he's 13, 14 years old, and he's a pretty good martial artist for his age. And, you know, isn't that great? Yeah, yeah. What's the ratio, the percentage ratio kids and we're about, well, I used to be about 85-15 adults. I was an adult. And then when I went to Brooklyn, we started teaching the kids a little bit more. Okay. We started working the programs. We're about a 65-35 adult, 60-40. Yeah, yeah. Depending. My school in Little Neck used to be 85-15. Now it's about 60-40, 55-45 adults. Right. I mean, you know, this is an adult art, but you know, we tone it down for the kids. You know, we don't do G-techs and finger jabs and stuff like that for the kids. But you know, we use closed hands. We teach them how to kick and punch. We teach them how to grapple. Yeah. We do some nunchuck work with the kids. we give them the collie stick. You know, we work the collie with them, defend angles and stuff. Obviously, we're not going to put a knife in their hand, but you know, and the kids are having fun. You know, so I mean, Fridays we do grappling for the kids in Brooklyn and in Little Neck, and that's really working out well. Yeah. You know, you'll see the guard position, mount, side mount, but you'll also see some regular wrestling positions. Right. And we just had a whole bunch of kids graduate from the red shirts, which are the 7 to 12-year-olds, to go into the black shirts, which are the adult program. And they're attending all the grappling classes on Wednesdays. And we have a wrestler teaching that class. And all of a sudden, you see these kids that were like 10, 11, now they're 14, 15, and they're wrestling and doing really cool stuff. Okay, break that down. There are 3 colored T-shirts. Is it white, blue, and red? No, the blue shirts are the little dragons, 4 to 6. Okay, and we use that like the sky, you know, unlimited. It just keeps on going. The red shirts are 7 to 12-year-olds, and that's obviously a good luck color in the Chinese culture, right? Red. And then the black shirts are from 13 to adult, to whatever age. So those are the 3 groups. And we tried to go with gray shirts originally, and it didn't real blue shirts. It didn't really work out, so we stayed with the black shirts.
Right.
It's easier, for them to, because when gray gets sometimes like sweated up, it looks kind of bad, and people walk in and see guys, right? So, even Neil had black shirts. I mean, originally when I started in the concept family, we had the black shirt, and you could wear whatever pants you wanted. You could wear a gi, shorts, whatever. And then later on, we went to sweatpants.
That was until Sifu Dino started making the black sweatpants.
Yeah, and then we went like that too. Yeah, so everybody's wearing them, and because Neil originally had, just you could wear whatever you want, right? Shorts. Everybody was like that, and coming from a traditional karate place, I was like, this is cool. And then we went to the sweatpants. It makes it looks like a little more like a martial arts school, because we are a martial arts school. We have to have honor, integrity, discipline, right? Yeah. Those are important things.
For sure. So you're probably the only JKD guy with this much going on in the martial art world, but I can't recall ever seeing you featured in a martial art magazine.
I was in a couple of them with Chris Kent.
Ah. Okay.
And I was like his dummy,
Right.
So I was holding pads for him in the Bruce Lee magazine. To be honest, a lot of times people say, hey, why don't you write an article? Why don't you do this? Some guys will like, hey, why don't you go out and do a seminar? And I really believe if I'm going to spread the art of Jeet Kune Do, which I think is really a cool art, the best place for me to be is in my school with my students. And I know guys go out and do seminars and all that, and that's a big thing. And, people weren't able to get JKD. So, you go to see Dan, Chris, Ted, whoever is out there, Tackett, whoever's out there. I mean, I've been to Bert Richardson's seminars. Bert's a really cool guy. But I believe that from a martial arts standpoint, you work internally. You take care of the students. I'm not busy worrying about what article, what book, what seminar I'm going to do.
Right.
I just had a couple of people call me up and they say, want me to go to Europe. And I might be sending some of my guys there instead of me going. Let them go out, get the exposure, get them. Because I still believe that's the way to spread the art. Inside your school, with your students, the guys who are training 3, 4, 5 times, a week. I think that's going to keep the art alive. And, I've spoken to guys that have done seminars. And one of the things that they told me was frustrating was they go back the following year and the people haven't worked anything. That was one of the things that Sifu Chris, and when he first met me, and even Ted Wong used to like coming to my school. He'd say, what I teach, because I used to do privates with him on Wednesday. He used to come in on Thursday nights. Yeah. And I used to do 5, 6 hours on Fridays with him privates. Right. He used to come in twice a year. And what happens is, he was like, you're one of the few schools that actually works what I give you. And I was like, okay, so you get a guy to come in for a seminar, and then nobody works what they taught. What's the use of bringing them in? So I started working exactly what they were teaching me, made the students better, made myself better. Yeah. And as I was teaching it, I was also learning also, right? Because, those questions come out and you're like, okay, let me, right? So, and what happened is I figured out that I'd rather just be in my little school, not the bigger schools, but back then it was just my little school, and just teach my art to guys that want to be there, guys who made a commitment, and that's how I'm going to get better martial artists, better JKD practitioners. I'm sure you've run across that also.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay, so now you mentioned Greg Silva and United Professionals. Here's another thing I don't recall, so correct me if I'm wrong. I don't recall seeing you at a NAPMA conference, at a Maya conference.
Nope.
Maui.
None of those.
I don't remember seeing, so So where'd you get the business acumen from?
That's one of the things that we went to, okay. The idea is real simple. It was like, how does the business acumen come out? Well, you know what? If you walk into my martial arts school and I give you an intro and you see that I love the martial arts, right? And a lot of times people would say to me, how many classes do you teach? And I was like, I'm here every day, dude. I'm teaching all the classes back then. And they know I love the art, enthusiasm. And then what happened was we started getting people ready when we were getting ready to go to Brooklyn. And they used to laugh at me because I used to sit on the side, like I used to pace, because I was used to always teaching. Now the instructors that are here, guess what? I can give you the best closing possible. And you sign up in my school, and then you come to the class, and there's no enthusiasm, there's no contact, and they're bouncing from place to place. And if you're intelligent, you go, well, how does all this fit together?
Yeah.
You know, and one of the things that I used to talk to people about, you say, well, how do you do all those arts? And you've seen it through all these years. Most guys will take certain classes and specialize in them. Like certain guys will say, okay, I'll do the Thai boxing, but I won't do the Savate. I'll do the Wing Chun trapping. I won't do the Filipino martial arts. It's not that they're taking everything and anything. But if you're teaching with enthusiasm and everything's working together, and you're teaching them the flow between the kicking, the punching, the trapping, the grappling, the weapon, the mind, the body, the spirit, honor, discipline, integrity, you don't need to be the best businessman out there. You need to be a good martial artist that loves the art. And it's if your students are with you for a long time and you're giving them a sales pitch, they know it, especially if you have intelligent students. We have a lot of adult students who are, you know, businessmen, doctors, lawyers, accountants, hedge fund guys. You know what? If you try to do a sales pitch to them, they're going to know it, because we're not good enough actors to make believe that, right? They'll pick us off right away. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to show them I love martial arts. And if they want to stay, they can stay.
Right.
You know, it takes 7 to 8 years in my school to become an instructor. You know what? I have a whole bunch of those guys that have been around with me a long time. And they go, yep, that's him. That's him teaching. And it doesn't, I don't teach as often as I do because I'm getting older now. Got some knee problems, you know. How can't we have some knee problems and stuff? But, you know, but they'll say he's the same guy. He's teaching the same way. He's improving. He's making adjustments, but he loves the art. And people can see that. And once they see that, they stay with you.
Yeah.
So I don't think I really need, you know, Greg Silver to tell me, you know, be enthusiastic. You know, we worked with a guy that was closing, and he said to me, you've been closing for 20 years. There's nothing I can really do to help you. Just keep on doing what you're doing. He helped some of the guys that were new in the school to learn how to close, because some of them were just instructors and they didn't know how to close, right? They didn't know how to do intros. But again, they have to have the enthusiasm and love of the art. If you don't love the art, what are you doing on the training floor? Well, I need it for a job. You're in the wrong field then, because everybody's going to know that that's not true.
Yeah. But I have heard of stuff like that where people have hired salespeople and put them, you know, in a position in their school, and they're not even martial artists.
Well, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. We don't do it. And I look at that and I say, you know what? If I can do a great intro and he can close, takes the guy into place and closes, that's fine. But at the end, after he signs that agreement and he gets on the training floor, you had better have quality martial arts.
Right.
You had better have some enthusiasm, and you better know how to take a person from the beginning till the end. And that was one of the things that I loved about Chris Kent. When I used to watch him teach, he could take a guy that's been training for 10 years and make him better, but he can also go to a guy that just started training 5 days ago and take it all the way down to help them out.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's a great example to look at as an instructor. What should I be doing? Because a lot of times we do as martial arts, especially when we first start teaching, I want to show everybody how much I know. All right? The bucket theory. But you know what? You're just losing those guys. So, you know, Sifu Chris was really good at that. And when I first met him, he came to my school in '94. And I watched him teaching. And I was like, look at this. He's teaching some guys that have been with me for like a year. And he's got some new guys in the seminar. And he still does it till today. I mean, he's been coming to my school since 1994.
Right.
And I look at him, and he'll go up to guys who have just been training for 3 weeks, tone it down, help them, then go to guys that have been with me for 10, 12 years and just pick it up again and show them. And I think that's really kind of cool. Yeah. Shows his love of the art, Sometimes I talk to him about martial arts, and he starts telling me stuff. I go, where does this guy get all this stuff, man? Sometimes I take notes. I used to do a lot of it. I haven't done it for a while, but he used to talk to me. I used to take notes when he used to say, go find this and stuff like that. And, you know, it keeps you happy, and it keeps you enthused. And then you get on the floor and you're teaching the right way.
What about Ted Wong? What was your experience with him?
Okay. Really cool guy. He loved, obviously, Bruce. Yeah. Because he really did not want to go out there and teach Jeet Kune Do, I believe. Yeah. I believe he started teaching Jeet Kune Do because he saw it being watered down and all these things being added. And that was his personal preference. I'm not saying whether, you know, I don't want to insult anybody or anything like that, but he came out and he wanted to show people what his experiences with Bruce were. Yeah. And that was the great thing. We used to sit down, and he used to come in from California on Thursday nights. We used to do privates during the day. And in the beginning, I used to do maybe 6 hours with him. Later on, I would split the time with him, and then I'd bring my instructors in to work with him. And he had this cool thing. Around 10 o'clock at night, he would start talking because he was on California time. And I'd be like, and then he would just start talking. And of course, you're not going to stop. I think his footwork was unbelievable.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Footwork is key to what he did. Yeah. And he taught me one thing. He said, footwork, if you don't have footwork, you're not a good martial artist. And I asked him how so. And he said to me one thing. It gets you out of danger, puts you in a position to hit, makes you hit harder, limits your opponent's tools, and sets up the interception. So what else is there in combat? And I was like, and then for you to implement that, it's a whole different story. Yeah. And, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, whatever, he doesn't train. But when you looked at him move, there's a few videos on Facebook, on the internet. Just if you look up Ted Wong footwork, you see this guy's moving. That's not something that happened overnight. Right. That was years and years of training. And, you know, well, you know, he's not legit, or I don't know if he's legit or not, but the guy was good. And good man, very hard to get to know.
The first time I saw him here in Miami, I swear to you, he was floating.
Yeah. Yep.
He was floating. I couldn't believe it.
You know, I seen him down on Wall Street, and we went there, and there was about 15, 20 guys, and he was very low key, right? He's talking very low, right? Mm-hmm. Ted Wong talking, and we were like, can't hear him. And all of a sudden, he starts throwing kicks and punches. And we got to figure out what this guy's doing, you know? And that was the thing. He was like, this guy moves different than anybody else.
Right.
And that was the amazing thing about him. And we had talked about that. And he said, you know, Bruce was all into footwork. So he goes, I'm just taking what Bruce taught him. He was taking what Bruce taught him, and he was trying to work it to make it his own. Yeah. And that's why, you know, the guy was great. And sometimes people say, oh, he didn't know a lot. But when you sat down and spoke to him about martial arts, he knew a lot of things.
Of course. It
was just that he would just talk about Jeet Kune Do. Well, you know,
don't you think he did with Bruce Lee what you did with Chris Kent, which was to listen and make notes?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I did that with Ted too. Let me tell you something. I used to ask him questions, and he used to laugh at me because, you know, he goes, nobody else asked me questions, because I used to bring out my notebook and I used to ask him questions. And I never forget the first time I did privates with him. I did 6 hours the first day, and we worked the front hand. And he said, okay, I'm going to come back in February, because this was in November. And then in February, he was supposed to come in again. So I started working what he showed me. So he came back and he's like, let me see your rear hand. And I was like, I haven't thrown my rear hand because you told me to use this. And then he figured out that, you know, whatever he gave me to work, I would work. Yeah, because why else would I be with him if I didn't work what he did? And Sifu Chris was the same way. He gives me something to work. Why not be able to work it and make it better, since he feels it's important for me to learn this? You know, I did 6 hours of privates, but I didn't work any of that stuff. Then what's the use of doing the 6 hours of privates with him? Mm-hmm. Or the 3 hours or the 4 hours? Right. You know, so, well, Chris, yeah, I mean, when you talk to Chris, I mean, he's got such a wide range because he's been in the JKD family for so long. Yeah. You know, and Ted was the same way, except he was a little low key. but he knew a lot about martial arts. I mean, because I felt that he didn't know that. When we sit down and I used to ask him questions, some of the stuff he would talk about, I was like, I didn't think he knew that stuff. But he was like, no, I just do my JKD, but I know about this, I know about that. Humble guy. Did you work with him more than once?
I worked with him at the place here in Miami, and then I think over at Cass's place one time too.
Yeah, Cass used to bring him in all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when Chris was in California, he used to bring his guys over to Cass's school.
Right.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's cool stuff.
Yeah. I noticed on your web pages, there's definitely an emphasis on fitness, right? But you said it's a Jeet Kune Do kickboxing class, so it's not like the fitness kickboxing or the cardio kickboxing.
No, I won't do a cardio kickboxing class. I'm a martial artist. I've been doing this. I'm not a recreational martial artist. I know sometimes, and I understand why people do it.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to get the cardio crowd in here.
Right.
And get them to do class, and that's fine. I see nothing wrong. But I would rather teach them the kickboxing element of Jeet Kune Do. The same way when I'm doing the trapping element, I want to do the trapping element of Jeet Kune Do. Mm-hmm. So we do work tie pads, kicking shield, focus mitts, right? We do front hand education with tie pads. Yeah. We throw the knees, the elbows. The real leg has the shin kicks, the pendulum hook kick. You go instep, right? Shin, right? We throw the knees. We do tie-ups, but we don't do the cardio kickboxing. Okay. Maybe it's wrong that I don't, but I'm like, no, I want my guys to come to class and work their JKD. They're going to work their stance. They're going to work their kicking, their punching. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, you're watching these guys hit pads. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
Instead of doing a cardio. And there's nothing wrong with the cardio kickboxing class. There's a lot. I don't know. Do you have a cardio kickboxing class in your school?
Okay, I'll tell you what I discovered, right? And I think you did it the right way. Now, as far as the technical base in fitness kickboxing, we showed them Muay Thai and we showed them Jun Fan. But what I discovered is that the average fitness kickboxer is not interested in getting better. They're more interested in the cardio.
Yeah, I agree.
And that was frustrating.
Yeah, because it's like I'm teaching you cool stuff and you don't care about it. Because I think it's a different clientele.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you can't just come to my kickboxing class. You have to become a member of the school.
Right.
And then you can do the kickboxing, the grappling, you can do the weapon.
Yeah.
You can do the regular JKD classes. And this way your students get better.
Yeah.
And I also believe that when you're doing that and the people are more serious, you get a better energy in the class.
Exactly. And by making them a member of the school instead of a member of the fitness kickboxing group, you do get a more serious person.
Yep.
Right?
You found that through the years too, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. Now, what about, is there a gym inside one of the locations?
No. Little Neck is small. So
okay.
I think it's like 14, 15. Matter of fact, the changing rooms are in the basement. And then Astoria is about 5,000 or 6,000 square feet. And the changing rooms are downstairs, but there's actually 2 training floors. And there's tie bags, speed bags, JKD dummies, obviously. In Brooklyn, there's a second floor where there's a cage. We do the sparring.
Okay.
Heavy bags. The second floor is matted. The first floor is not. So we don't have a gym. We don't. We had thought about doing it, but then we said, you know what? We're a martial arts school.
Right.
And if you want to go to the gym, you can go be a member of the gym. But we want you to learn how to be a martial artist. And we do physical stuff. And we do push-ups, sit-ups, jump rope. The normal stuff that happens in a martial arts school.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to put weights in there. We had a fitness class in Brooklyn. And basically, it was okay. I had an actual trainer. We try to, people want to do martial arts. They come to a martial arts school. They're paying money, top dollar, to learn martial arts, not to have a cardio kickboxing. They can get that at the gym for, whatever, $59, $79, $89.
Right.
And yeah, I'm sure you want as a martial art instructor to get these guys better.
Right. Yeah.
That's your best advertising, right?
Yeah.
Guys are better.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love how, I don't know how many times, I lost count, you've brought it back to, we're a martial arts school. We're a martial arts school. We're a martial arts school. I absolutely love that.
Yep. And I've been doing this for 45 years now.
Yeah.
Right. And I tell people, listen, if you think it's going to be cardio or this or that, it's not going to be. You're going to learn how to defend. So you're going to get in better shape. You're going to have confidence. You're going to be surrounded by good people with a good attitude. And isn't that, you want to go and you want to work out, and we have a cooperative instead of a competitive environment. People are cooperating. Newer people are being helped by the older people because the older people had been helped by other people.
Mm-hmm.
It works, right? I walk in, somebody helps me, then I help somebody else.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great way. This way there's no cliques in the school. Everybody helps everybody out.
Right.
Everybody's, hey, they're hanging out, they're laughing, they're just doing stuff. A lot of these guys, they all go out together and stuff like that. Like tonight, after the class, they're going to go out.
What about the Astoria clique versus the Brooklyn clique?
No, doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. What happens is when I went to Brooklyn, I was worried about, how they're going to get along with the Little Neck people, right?
Yeah.
The first school, because that's a small school. This is a big school. And then it's this really cool thing happened. I realized that I was drawing a certain clientele, good guys and girls, good guys and good girls. And what happened is they all get along because they're all good guys, so I don't have a problem with that. Whether you're from Great Neck or from Little Neck or Astoria, we put them all together. Everybody's the same. They're all wearing the same uniform. We're all learning Jeet Kune Do. It doesn't really make a difference. And I know sometimes, you go to other schools and they're competing against, and I don't really believe that's a positive thing. We're looking to get better as opposed to, argue and, do this crazy stuff.
You should have a movie night, bring everybody together, and you should show them that movie Warrior.
Well, we do in Brooklyn. We have a movie night. We see like Warrior's Journey, and we have food downstairs.
Uh-huh.
And then everybody goes upstairs, watches the video, comes downstairs and eats. We hang out. We do stuff like that. I think it's really cool. You talking about the Warrior series?
No. Remember Warriors, the gang, the New York gang movie?
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, did you see what they just did with them? They got the original cast. You got to look it up on YouTube. The original cast actually got up and did the same train ride back to Coney Island. And what happened is, that one part when they get chased up the stairs by the bus? They go running up the stairs. They get to the top and they go, it didn't seem to be that long. But you should look it up. It's really cool. It's a really cool thing.
What the heck? Deborah von Valkenburg or something. She was the hottie.
The one talking on the radio?
No. God. She was the girl that ended up hooking up with
taking her back to Coney Island. Was that her name? Yeah.
I think it's something Van Valkenburg. Yeah.
But you should look up that YouTube thing. I thought it was hilarious because they went running up the stairs and they're on top of that. It didn't seem that long. That the stairs got longer all of a sudden. That's a great movie, by the way.
Oh, that's classic, man. That's classic.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me about. Let me see if I made a note of it here. Gosh, now I can't find it. I think it was the MP Power Summit. What was that?
We don't do that. Oh, the MP Power Summit. That was not United Professionals. What happens is Kokinos' group. They do our bit. What?
EFC.
EFC.
Yeah.
They recognized us as a group that we were actually doing everything the right way. So we became the #1 school at that point. It was an award that they gave us because we were doing a good job and the way we were doing things was the right way.
Right.
So they figured out that, hey, you know what, you guys are doing a great job. You guys are the #1 school out there doing this.
Was there anything in like a former in a former life or career that you took knowledge and skill from that? Because you mentioned earlier that you had been in another business. Was there anything?
Yeah, I used to be in the food business. We used to go in. I was in the food business, and that's a service business. You got to be able to service people. So, when I look at martial arts, a lot of times, the newer guys nobody pays attention to, right? The older guys, their little clique, and if you're running food business, guy walks into your place, you talk to them, right? You make them feel comfortable, and if I believe if the students see you doing that, they in turn will do that also. If you're being like standoffish, so I got this guy to sign up, and now I'm going to ignore him when he's on the training floor because he's new. That's a problem. So that's what I believe in, customer service. And if you're in the restaurant business, you got good product, they're going to stay. I could be the nicest guy if my food is no good. If I'm a nice guy and my martial art is no good, people ain't going to stay. And I always tell people, like sometimes they and go, listen, we've been open for so long, we must be doing something right. And they laugh when I say that. Yeah. So it's just customer service. And unfortunately, what I believe some of our industry, people come and go in our industry, and it's like, well, I have nothing else to do, so let me go teach martial arts. And I don't really believe that's the right thing. And then you see guys like yourself that have been around the martial arts for so long, and that person cares. If I walk into a school and a guy says, I've been around martial arts for 30 years, I know that guy cares about martial. He may be a little self-centered because martial arts, we're all self-centered a little bit, but we want to share our art. We want to make things better.
Yeah.
And if the customer is made to feel uncomfortable, they're going to leave. And guess what? You just cheated them out of a very good experience. Because I think Jeet Kune Do, it just makes people better. And I always ask the students, because I have a lot of guys that have trained in different martial arts, did you think that Jeet Kune Do would be the way it is? And they always say no. None of them ever say, yeah, I knew this was good. No, after about a year, I start talking to them about, what they felt about the art. Because in the beginning they're scared, oh yeah, we love it, right? But after about a year, they know you a little bit and say, hey, what did you think the art would be like coming into the school as opposed to what it is? And about 95% of the guys say, didn't think it was going to be this way. This is cool.
Wow. And
that makes you feel good about it, right? Because they're getting better, but they're really learning to flow. They're learning the principles, the ideas of what a martial artist is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
It's not just kicking and punching,
Right.
If I was just doing kicking and punching for 46 years, I might as well just go pack my stuff and go into a cave somewhere.
Yeah.
Martial arts is so much more, right? It makes your family life better, makes everything better, And look, my son, who runs everything right now, he's very well educated, but he saw what martial arts did for our family. And he's in the same, he's running everything now. He's been training since he was 3-4 years old with me. Then he started training, a lot in the schools and stuff like that. He went up through the phases. He started as a beginner, all the way up, because he's got to pay his dues. And, if you skip them and stuff, the foundations are not good, right?
Right.
If I skip the second floor, the fourth floor, all of a sudden things are not good. But he's actually gone through it where he's, done what everybody else has done. And, he loves the art also. So
yeah. I love how you're getting information calls in the school on a Friday evening at 7 p.m.
Yeah, the secretary's answering them. If I knew it was going to ring, I forgot to take the phone out of the office. Yeah, we are getting phone calls.
Love it.
We try,
Yeah. All right. So for the professional JKD people who are going to see this, or the ones who might consider it, because we got 10% battery remaining. So let's wrap this up. Give them a primer on how to run a good Jeet Kune Do business.
Okay, I'll tell you some of the stuff that I was taught. You got to work all the phases. The kicking, the punching, the trapping, the grappling in long, medium, and close range. You can't just be, hey, my instructor just did footwork, or my instructor just did these 2 punches, because that's not going to work, because most people are going to get bored with that. You have to show the whole art, that what Bruce wanted to be done, and then let the individual decide what he takes. You know, I worked with Larry Hartzell, right? And he turned around and he said to me, hey, listen, first you hurt them, then you throw them, you lock them up, right? And, you know, he grabbed me once. I was like, oh, my God, this guy's really strong. But, right? And then you had other guys like, hey, if I hurt them, why would I grapple with them? Why don't I just continue hurting them with my punches and my kicks? And that's the personal expression. So what we do is we give you the art, like I'll give you the alphabet, and you put it together. You write out that sentence. You write out the story how you want it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's really cool. If I had a picture of Bruce and I said, hey, write an essay about this picture. And 5 guys wrote it. Each of us would express it differently, but it would all be a description of that picture, which would be Jeet Kune Do. So that's the first thing. Don't just teach what you love. Teach the art as a whole, and then you don't have to go bouncing around trying to find other things. Also, when you teach, don't just teach the same. Look, you could teach a front-hand education drill 20 different ways, right? And make it fun instead of just throw straight lead, throw straight lead, throw straight lead, throw straight lead. And then the guy goes, I want to go home. I want to go home, right? But hey, how about off a kicker, a puncher, a trapper, a grappler, a counter fighter? How about after a combination? How about a guy that's moving towards you? Aggressive, certain ways. Hey, that's how you would learn how to use the straight lead. And one of the things that Bruce talked about is I don't fear the man who throws 10,000 kicks once. I fear the man who throws 1 kick 10,000 times, right? And that means, hey, learning how to throw it against different people. And that's really important. Different situations, aggressive, passive. I had a guy in Brooklyn once. I'm looking at him. He's throwing punches in the air, throwing straight leads. So after about 40 minutes, he comes into my house and goes, Sifu, I got 250 punches. I have to do 750 punches more. So I could feel like what Bruce did, 1,000 straight leads a day. I said, why don't you go upstairs, hit the heavy bag with the straight lead a little, do some more footwork, maybe have a guy come at you, and that way maybe the straight lead comes alive. And I think that's important, because we get into this thing of this is what I like, so my students have to like this. Where, you know, our students are not sausages. They're not all the same. You got to, you know, each of them have a personality. I'm sure you notice people come into your school and they come in with different personalities. Why will we stifle that? I want them to keep their personality. That's what keeps it interesting. So as an instructor, teach them the art as a whole, teach them this philosophy, get them to read Bruce's library. You know, we sometimes go, hey, for the next month, we're working with this book. Whoever wants to go get it. We'll work on it. We'll talk about it. And guess what? Some of them do, some of them don't. And it makes the art better, you know?
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean we don't look at other books too. We look at Thai books, I look at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu books. But since we're a JKD school, I want to look, there's not so much information on Bruce out there. And I believe a lot of the JKD guys don't even go through that. They don't look through the library. I had a couple of guys that, when they first came out in 97, 98, the first 3 books came out, remember the commentaries? And they went up to a school, I'm not going to mention the school, and the guy goes, we don't read those books. Well, that's Bruce's notes. Why aren't you reading those books? We don't believe in those books. And I was like, they came back and they go, the guy was mad with us. He said, the only book we should read is The Fighting Method and The Tao. And I was like, no. You should be reading all of Bruce's notes. And we'll talk about that another day. But the thing is, why not read our founder's notes? Why not have the students come up and ask you questions about the books and learn and do the footwork? And hey, why is Bruce's hand down here? And why is Bruce's hand here? I mean, there's a thing in the Tao when he's a 60-40 back forward, right? That's his Wing Chun's notes, right? Later on, it changes. Body weight is forward. Front hand is down. Hey, why is it there? And this way, guess what? Now everybody's getting involved, talking about the art, and they become part of the culture.
Right.
Which the culture is really cool. Jeet Kune Do. Bruce was a cool guy. You know, Bruce was a cool guy. So, you know, you look at that. Why not? Why not experience the art as a whole? And then I think that would be really good. And, you know, get on the floor, have some fun.
Yeah.
You know, kid around a little bit. Make fun of yourself sometimes. It's fine, you know. Hey, I used to do that thing wrong too. Yeah. You know, sometimes instructors forget that we were beginners also. You know, and I'll never forget the first day I started in Shotokan Karate. You know, I had my little white belt on and my gi, and I was like, man, this is so cool. but I messed up the whole class. And I was, right? I was the youngest guy in the class. But sometimes instructors forget that.
Right.
You know, we forget, hey, well, we worked really hard to get where we are. It just didn't come through osmosis. So, you know, these people are doing the same thing, and we have to encourage them instead of, there's a lot of discouragement outside. There's a lot of negative energy outside the school. Let's take that positive energy and make them feel good, and hopefully they can help somebody outside of the school too. You know, if they go home and they're happy because they've been made to feel better, guess what? We're helping them in their lives also. And it's helped me, you know. People say, well, what do you do for a living? I was like, I teach martial arts. And when my son was growing up, he's like, yeah, my dad's a martial artist. And they were like, really? And they would ask him questions. He go, Dad, they're always, I says, yeah, because that's a different field. And not everybody does that. And you know, it makes you happy. Yeah. Teaching JKD, man, teaching martial arts as a whole, not just JKD. If you're doing any martial art the right way, it's got to make you feel better. Yeah. You know? I'm sure you feel the same way.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Dino Orfanos, you're a cool guy too.
Thank you very much. It was good talking to you.
Yeah, same here, man. And I really appreciate your taking the time out.
Anytime you want. If you come to New York, come and visit. We'll talk again.
For sure. For sure.
All right. Take care. Take care, man.
All right, cool. Another great one, huh? Okay, so let me just tell you this before the power goes out. Next week, around this same time, we will be finishing up with Bob Landers of Bob Landers Jeet Kune Do. So next Friday, which is August 16th at 6 p.m. we should be on with Bob Landers out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, again in the Ted Wong lineage. Okay, so that's it for today. You know the deal. Feel free, share, like, comment, sign up for notifications for when we go live here on Facebook, and also when we post the final edit videos up on the YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods, on Instagram at Dwight D Woods, at ilovejeetkundo.com. The Quick Skill Series Volume 1 is available. And we'll see you back here. There is a Monday episode also. I forgot to tell you that. Yes, so Monday, I believe 6 p.m. And Monday is what, 10, 11, 12. I think that's August 12th with Stanley Brooks, who is another one of the lost boys of the lost boys of Jeet Kune Do. Anyhow, I'll get that information out to you, right? But I'm not sure if Stan will be live with me or if we'll do it off camera and then I'll post it up for you. But Stan and I go back to the Baldwin, Missouri days, so that's going to be good stuff. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you again. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. Take care.